Guys, it's Queen Heru, and I'm coming to you today with another exciting edition of Ask An Aquarius. Okay, so one of my friends sent me a message last night, and she wanted me to talk more about meditation in itself. She said that she heard of it. Of course, everybody's heard the term meditation, but what does it mean? And she said that I talked about there being meditations on YouTube that I use all the time. And she said when she Googled meditations, 50,000 came up. Now, my friend's a bit of an exaggerator, so it might not have been quite 50,000 or it could have been more. But I figured that after this video is over, if you take a look underneath, I will put my favorite YouTube meditations. There's like 4 or 5, maybe more of them that I use all the time. So I'll put my top ones underneath here so you don't really have to look that far. You can just go under here and you can see the ones that really work for me. And then you can go from there and research your own. So what is meditation? Okay, so basically meditation is the other side of prayer. These are two forms of communication with your creator. Now, it doesn't matter what you call creator, God, goddess, universe, sometimes by name. Some people say Yahweh, Olodumare. I often say Oset, Asar, Ra, Rate, Haru, Sekhmet, Bast, Kuan Yin. We call God many different things. So whatever you call your creator, basically, meditation is communication with your creator. Prayer is talking to God. It's when you tell God how you feel, what you think, what you need, your fears, you spill it all out. Some people do these informal prayers like Our Fathers or Hail Marys. I always believe in praying from your heart and just saying what's in there. When I write a ritual, I do have a written ritual that I'll read as I do it, but I write it initially from my heart. So I believe that's the best way for a prayer to work. Now, meditation is the other side of that. It's listening to your creator. So you've talked and talked and talked, and now you need to listen. I think that a person, if you want to get the optimum effect from your spiritual practice, I think you should do a combination of both, praying and listening, especially after you've prayed, because it's now time to hear for the answers that you asked for. So meditation is something that came up. We don't know really where it came from, like whose culture it came from. We know that they were doing it as far back as ancient times. And in ancient times, people traded with each other a lot. Some of you may be familiar with the trade routes. It's just like if you could imagine being in your hood, being on Germantown Avenue, being on Market Street, being on Broad Street. You're going to have people out there selling stuff because it's a major trade route. It's a major route that people travel. So just like that, back in ancient times, if there was a major area that people travel from, people would set up little stands, little stops, little stores, whatever the case was, to sell their wares. Same basic concept. So as people were walking through these trade routes, was nothing more than a path through the forest, they would talk. They would talk to each other and they would share ideas. So it's hard often to know exactly where an idea came from. We know that Africa, Asia, Europe, that really it was Africa, Asia, and the Middle East that did the most trading. And then later on, Europe came down and they were trading too. So that whole area traded ideas, but the earliest ideas were traded amongst the people who were in the Middle East and Africa. So we don't know exactly where some of those things came from, but we know it came from that area. So meditation and a lot of spiritual practices cropped up around there. When I go to read about meditation, I usually find the most literature under Buddhism. Buddhism practices and writes a lot about meditation. So if you want further information about it, that's a good place to go. Okay, so now let's get into exactly what it is. So basically what people were taught as far as meditation is concerned is that they could go within. When I said it was communication, one of our forms of communication is going inside of ourselves. and tapping into our soul. The Egyptians believed that your soul is behind your belly button. Some people call this area the solar plexus, but the Egyptians believed your soul was there. So, what we think is that we can open up ourselves and draw down the wisdom of the cosmos, the wisdom of the universe. So, meditation is basically slowing down and opening up. In your everyday life, most people don't do this at all, as far as that's concerned. Most people wake up in the morning and get busy. Start eating, start drinking, start working. People get busy immediately. Most people don't take the time ever to just slow themselves down. Some people pray. Not even a lot of people do that. I know a lot of people who do pray. I know a lot of Christians. I know a lot of people in Islam. A lot of them. Like sometimes you'll see them with the mark on their forehead because they pray so much. But everybody isn't doing that. So a lot of people are not slowing down. They're not going inside themselves. And meditation and prayer is a way to do that. So what happens is that you pick a time. Usually the best time for meditation is in the morning or at night before you go to bed. And you pick one of those times and you just sit. You sit and you breathe. And you open, like you allow yourself to be open, and you just listen to your heart. A lot of times people use guided meditations, and that's why I recommend the ones here on YouTube, because if you're a beginner, and even if you're like me, you've been meditating for a long time, those the videos can be really beneficial. But if you're a beginner, it takes away the guesswork. Beginners are always wondering, am I doing this right? And, with anything that you do, really. But with meditation especially, they're like, am I doing this right? I don't know. What am I supposed to hear? What am I supposed to think? What am I supposed to feel? So when you do a guided meditation, it makes it easy because as long as you're doing what the person is saying, that you're doing it right. So what they're going to say to you is, close your eyes. Breathe through your nose, let it out through your mouth. They're going to tell you step by step what to do. Visualize yourself laying in a field. They'll say stuff like that. And you just follow what the person says until it's over. And at the end of it, you should have felt yourself open up and slow down. And that is the purpose of meditation. During meditation, a lot of people get aha moments. They get revelations. They get ideas. They get inspiration. They hear things. They feel things. All kinds of things can happen during meditation. Like, I can't tell you exactly what your experience will be because it depends. It's all different. It's individual for each one of us. But the bottom line is that you're slowing yourself down and you're opening yourself up to your creator. So between that and prayer, you will establish a very strong connection with your creator. Now, I recommend meditation heavily. Heavily. It changed my life in a lot of ways. It's slowing down, opening myself up, reducing my stress. It has a lot of very practical things along those lines. And it opens you up. Like I said, it strengthens your relationship with your creator. Who doesn't want a stronger relationship with their creator? It's one of the best things in the world you can do for your life. So that's meditation. Most people either sit cross-legged on the floor with their palms up or down or whatever they feel like doing. Some people like to sit with their legs out. Depends on what's comfortable for your body. Because one of the things that happened with me, I would always see people meditate with their legs crossed. And I could never do it. My body just didn't like it. My hips didn't like it. So I had to learn how to meditate in a way that was good for my body. So what I started to do was to lay flat. Totally flat. No pillows under my neck. Nothing. Just totally flat. And that works for my body. I can feel the energy going through me like that. Some people, that doesn't work for them. They fall asleep. So everybody has to figure out which way to position yourself. But those are the two usual methods. Sitting up straight with your legs crossed. Sitting with your legs pointed out. Or laying completely flat. One of those three ways. So try those three and see if any of them work for you. And if it doesn't, you got to twist around. Because some people have back problems, things like that. So you might have to figure out exactly how you can sit for those 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever the case is. Um, Everybody's not going to be able to do it the same way. That really frustrated me in the beginning because I was like, oh, these people on YouTube are sitting so nicely and I can't get my right leg to go underneath the left one and stay there, you know? So you have to figure out what works for your body. And so there's the guided meditations, and then some people like to just go freestyle. Some people don't want to listen to another person tell them how to meditate, so they'll put on a CD like the ocean waves, rain. Listening to rain. Some people listen to classical music. Some people just learn breathing exercises. There's lots of those online. Most of the time we breathe, either in through the nose and out through the mouth. That's a very common one. But there's different ones you can do. So people, sometimes they just sit and breathe in a quiet room. Some people go outside. Meditation outside is very popular. Some people like to go to like the park, for example, maybe by themselves and sit underneath a tree. Buddha was known for sitting underneath a tree and just closing his eyes and zoning out, just pulling down the universal energy. So usually for beginners, that's why I said the guided meditations are easy, because you get a hold of what you're doing and then you can branch off. Some people use chants. Different, people will sit and they will just chant the same chant over and over again. All of these chants mean something. So if you're trying to work on prosperity, if you're trying to work on your health, if you're trying to work on opening your heart, there's a chant for everything. So you have to find out which chant it is. Some people write their own affirmation or find an affirmation online and they just say the affirmation over and over again. And that's their form of meditation, letting the universe know, this is what I'm working on. Please give me the information. Please give me the help, the guidance that I need with this. So those are the forms of communication with your creator. Now, like I said before, it's not hard. Meditation isn't difficult. The hard part is keeping your mind focused on what you're doing. Because while you're focusing on your mantra or your meditation or your affirmation or whatever you're focusing on, things come to your mind, that have nothing to do with it. If things come to your mind that have something to do with it, then it's just going along with what you're asking God is for. But if things come to your mind like your laundry list, did you call your sister back? The video you just watched on YouTube, if your mind wanders, then you have to gently bring your mind back. You can't berate yourself or yell at yourself because your mind wanders. Your mind is trained to wander. It's been wandering your whole life, and now you want to train it to do something new. So it takes a while. It takes 90 days. I was telling people yesterday, 90 days of committed practice to be able to change your thought patterns and your mindset. And somebody also asked me, how long should you meditate? Meditation in the very beginning can be 3 to 5 minutes. And it can go as long as you want it to. You can meditate Buddha would meditate for days. You can meditate as long as you want to. Some monks, they'll meditate, from 24-hour meditations. They do all kind of stuff. So it's really up to you. But 3 to 5 minutes a day would be great for a beginner. That would be great for your 90 days. And why do I say a day? With spiritual practices, you have to be consistent with them. A lot of people I know fail in their spiritual practices or have failed in their spiritual practices and then give up on them. But it's because they weren't being consistent. You can't meditate once a week and think you're going to get somewhere. You might as well just go do something else. Seriously, because you have to be consistent with any spiritual practice. So if you're going to meditate once a week, it's going to take you like 90 years to get to a place where you're really good at it. So every day would be good. 4 times a week would be great for 3 to 5 minutes and starting off, and then go as long as you want. Sometimes you'll find yourself meditating, and sometimes I'll start meditating and then be like, oh, wow, it's 3 hours later, because I've gone somewhere, In meditation, sometimes you will leave your body. You will be communing with whoever you're talking to, whatever spirit, God, goddess, whatever you're doing, you will be gone. and you won't be asleep. You'll just be gone, and then you'll come to like, shoot, it's been 2 hours, and you've left your body, you've left the planet. Now you technically haven't gone anywhere. It's just that your consciousness has connected with whatever you're talking to, whatever you're working with, Olodumare, God, Kuan Yin, whatever. And like for instance, certain deities, certain spirits have their own chant. So like Ganesha has a chant, Kuan Yin has a chant. So if I'm sitting doing a chant for Ganesha or a chant for Kuan Yin, after a while I may zone out and just see them and be talking to them. And this is all happening, you know, in what I call the astral plane, what we call the astral plane. So it's all happening on a different plane totally. So your body is just sitting there, eyes closed, hands up, in whatever position you put your body in. And I'm having this conversation with Kuan Yin, with Ganesha, with Osset, and I'm asking to be shown, I'm asking to be inspired, I'm asking to be told what to do, to be guided. I'm stuck somewhere, I need this, I need that, or I'm giving praise, I'm thanking them, I'm giving gratitude, whatever the case may be. And I may be like, oh my gosh, I come back, and my daughter's like, I thought she was making dinner, and I haven't even started it. So those kind of things are what may happen with meditation. But it's a good thing because you're being guided, you're being led, and dinner can wait. So that's meditation. That's what it is. That's the definition. That's a little bit of the history. And beyond that, if you want to know more, there's volumes on it. Like I'm just scratching the surface for people that want to get started or people that are already in it and want to know a little bit more. But there's volumes written on it. And underneath this video, you're going to find my favorite meditations. And you're also going to find a link to one of my favorite monks. This monk is a Buddhist monk and he does do meditation. And he does these Dharma talks. Now, I'm not a Buddhist because there are certain things I like to do and I like to be a part of that the Buddhists don't do, such as like different forms of magic and things along those lines. Even readings the Buddhists aren't into, and that's their thing. I'm cool with that, but it is my thing. So I'm not a Buddhist, but this particular monk I really do like. And he taught me a lot about kindness and compassion, which is something that I've been working on a lot in the past, 10 years, and also mindfulness, slowing myself down, coming away from stress, things like that. So you'll find a link to one of his videos, and you'll find the meditation videos. I'll link the ones I actually use. So those of you that are interested can take it further. Okay? So that's this edition of Ask an Aquarius. And today is the 4th of July. I always found it strange that people of color were not free and it was Independence Day. Ever since I was a young girl, I noticed contradictions in things. And I would always say to myself, if it's Independence Day, shouldn't we all be free? Because people who aren't of color or who aren't in the black community will say, hey, everybody's free. It's a free country. Yeah, but not really. If you can walk out your house and be shot by the cops for not doing anything, you're really not free. And I've always noticed these types of contradictions as a young girl. One thing about Aquarius, we pick up on injustice early, like 3 and 4 years old. I picked up early that there was a lot of things going on in my community that didn't go on in other communities. And to me, that's not freedom. So I noticed that for a long time. So I've had a very difficult relationship with the 4th of July, the majority of my life. So Frederick Douglass did a piece. He did a really great piece. It's called What to a Slave is the 4th of July. And I love that piece. And I always say, to a slave, the 4th of July is an excuse to have the day off and to barbecue. Which is exactly what I'm about to do. I have the whole day off and my best friend is coming over and we're going up the street to buy some barbecue. So that is what today is for, people. Have fun with your friends, have fun with your family, enjoy your day off if you have it off, and maybe get some barbecue. Take care, guys. Deuces.